News 5's 2024 highlights is brought to you by Holy Redeemer Credit Union, Fulltech Systems Limited, Sagicor, and Atlantic Insurance Company Limited.
Good evening, Belize. As we bid farewell to 2024, let's reflect on the moments that defined this extraordinary year. From innovative achievements to heartwarming stories, we've seen it all. I'm Isani Cayetano, and this is our 2024 Year in Review. We started the new year with a bang as Belize celebrated with renewed hope and optimism. But it wasn't long before we faced challenges that tested our resilience. From natural disasters, crime and violence, to political upheavals, 2024 kept us on our toes. Over the past year, Belize has witnessed a troubling rise in deadly crashes, with many involving motorcycles. Earlier this month, the country experienced its deadliest collision ever. 10 people, including a 4-year-old girl, tragically lost their lives in a 3-way pileup on the George Price Highway between San Ignacio and Benque. Just a week before, a group of young athletes from Keycocker faced a heartbreaking accident while traveling to Orange Walk for a basketball tournament, resulting in the loss of Alex Bainton. Tonight, we reflect on the lives lost on our roads.
The cause of the Toyota Corolla bursting into flames upon impact, tragically killing all 9 of its occupants on Saturday night, remains a mystery. The horrific accident happened around 10 p.m. between miles 71 and 72 on the San Ignacio Benque Road, involving a head-on collision with a Ford Expedition SUV. The Corolla's occupants were returning from a shopping trip to Melchor de Mencos, Guatemala. Shamila Pinello was watching a live report of the accident when she discovered the heartbreaking news that she had lost both a niece and a cousin. When she called her niece's phone, it was the police who answered.
From the moment they said come to the scene, I already saw on the live body bags. Because if they was at the hospital, the police would have said, go to the hospital. So I knew what I was coming to see. When I got here, it was just sad. On the scene you will see curtains and different little stuff on the scene burnt. They went to do Christmas shopping.
Tragedy struck the Keycocker Ocean Academy's boys basketball team on Friday as they were on their way to represent their community. Fresh off a victory against San Pedro High School, the team was heading to Orange Walk for the regional championship when their van experienced a blowout and overturned. All 12 occupants, mostly teenagers, sustained injuries. 2 of the students are currently in an induced coma, including 18-year-old Alexander Bayton. His mother, Nikita Marin, shared with News 5, "As a mother, my only goal is to be there for my son. We need prayers for a miracle which God is preparing for my son." She added that Alexander, who is a fisherman, basketball player, open water certified diver, volleyball player, and honor student, did not suffer any broken bones but needs a CT scan. The high school provided an update on Sunday night, stating that of the 12 people in the van, 6 were treated and released on Friday, 1 went home today, and 5 remain hospitalized. 2 are in recovery, while 3 are in critical care, including the 2 in comas. The school is consulting with doctors both locally and internationally to ensure the best possible care for recovery, especially for brain and spinal injuries. The incident has sent shockwaves through the Keycocker community, sparking a viral fundraiser movement. Belizean American Lee Vander Walker launched a campaign that has already raised $12,000 for the team's medical expenses. The community's support is a beacon of hope during this difficult time. 19-year-old Tamisha Gill and her brother Keenan Ragg were traveling towards San Ignacio on a motorbike when it collided into a pickup truck. The vehicle was attempting to make a left turn off the highway when the collision occurred. Both Tamisha and Keenan were flung off the motorbike. Tamisha's injuries proved fatal. Sadly, her death came one day after her birthday. We spoke with Tamika's mother, who is presently with Keenan at the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital.
So Tamisha just turned 19 on September 7th. So the family and I were out celebrating with her. My son had just turned 22 September 4th. So we were all doing one joint birthday with the family, her granny, grandpa, my husband and I, her brother. And then we decided to go home, and they stayed in San Ignacio, and they had a blowout. So the vehicle stayed in San Ignacio, and a kind friend lent them the bike to come home. So Sunday morning I was getting ready for church. I turned around and I told my daughter I love her. I told my son I love you. I said I'm going to church, and they said, Mom, we're going to drop back the bike because they loaned it to us. So they got on the bike, and while I was walking into church I heard, and I turned around and I saw when the bike passed and I waved. I didn't know that would be the last time I would say goodbye to my daughter.
An auditor lost his life in a motorcycle accident in Belize City on Wednesday afternoon. It happened at the entrance of the Philip Golson Highway, almost in front of A&R store, and claimed the life of Ishmael Clark. News 5 met his brother, Fishian Clark, at the scene of the accident. He told us that he had just spoken to Ishmael a couple days prior to the unfortunate accident, and then tried again to reach him about an hour before he died.
I spoke to him on the phone about 2-3 days before this incident, asking him if I could stay at his house. Because I wanted to move from Orange Walk back to Belize. I never did get an answer. I can't do it again. I will try my best to be for my brother and my niece and my nephew, you know. Because I got one more brother and niece and nephew, right, that's all.
We've also seen some of the most horrific crimes this year, including tragic murder-suicides that left 2 children orphaned. In March, the Belize City Council mourned the loss of City Administrator Stephanie Lindo, just days after the People's United Party secured their 3rd consecutive term at City Hall. Earlier this month, the peaceful seaside community of Monkey River was rocked by a deadly incident involving 2 cousins. Curtis Molina ambushed Elvis Garbott and his family along Monkey River Road, resulting in the brutal killing of 3 family members and their dog Curly during a robbery attempt.
Residents of Libertad are left in a state of shock after several devastating incidents occurred in succession within just 3 days. On Saturday, March 2nd, police responded to the reports of a road traffic accident between miles 74 and 75 of the Philip Golson Highway. When police arrived at the Corozal Community Hospital, where 20-year-old Jaquan Smith was receiving treatment for his injuries, he revealed that his wife had been murdered in their shared home in Libertad. The body was discovered by an Orange Walk taxi driver who had been contacted by Kyle's parents to investigate the scene on their behalf. There, he found 41-year-old Brianna Kyle deceased on her couch with multiple stab wounds. Also in the house was Kyle and Smith's infant child, unharmed aside from being left unattended to. Upon hearing the news, Kyle's father flew to Belize on Sunday, but would receive more unfortunate news as the suspected murderer was found dead in his prison cell this morning at Corozal Police Station. According to the Police Commissioner Chester Williams, Smith died by hanging himself.
We had an incident in Corozal where a young American fella was accused of killing his wife. He was eventually intercepted by the police at a traffic accident scene in Corozal and taken into custody. This morning the police went to clean a cell. He was in a cell block alive and well, and the police left to retrieve the prisoner food and returned about 10 minutes later, and upon return they found him hanging in the cell by his pants.
Shocked, frozen in time, and I'm still shocked actually. Like, this whole weekend has been a weekend where I am on the edge, like always anticipating that something tragic would happen, And so this continues. I know we have to heal as a unit group, and I know I have the support of my council. I'm glad to have them along with me.
The city administrator and her husband are dead, and the couple leaves behind a 13-year-old son in the wake of a tragic murder-suicide over the weekend. It happened on Saturday morning at this residence on Freetown Road, on the second floor of Oswald Garbutt's glass technology business.
Investigation revealed that shots were heard inside the house, and when police visited, they found the two bodies.
We're standing in front of a home on John Saldivar Boulevard in the city of Belmopan, where a pastor, his wife, and son allegedly held a woman captive for 8 days against her will. Behind me is the structure where the pastor and his wife lived. And right next to that structure is the church where they congregated. Behind these two structures stands a home where the woman and the pastor's son reportedly lived. Behind these closed doors are pews and an altar fit for a pastor and a congregation. But according to neighbors, people outside the pastor's immediate family rarely ever attended the church.
He's not a pastor. He could show in the face he's not a pastor, but he's a bad neighbor. He's a bad neighbor.
Tell me what makes you say he's a bad neighbor.
Because when we have animals, if he may like kill our animals.
It was an ordinary evening for a family of 5 in Monkey River Village, returning home after an outing. Just minutes from their destination, their night took a tragic turn. A gunman with a shotgun emerged from the brush and opened fire on the vehicle. 39-year-old Elvis Garbutt, 30-year-old Emerita Garbutt, their 3-year-old son Ellis Garbutt, and their dog Curly were all killed on the spot. Despite being injured in the face and hand, Elvis's 11-year-old daughter managed to escape and ran to her aunt's house for help. Elvis's mother, Enid Garbutt, revealed that the gunman was allegedly her son's own cousin, Curtis Molina. Another relative reported seeing Curtis walking down the street with a shotgun.
Meanwhile, we talk about it. I hear him screaming. And we start to bawl, and I say, oh, no, come, I say, because he kill my daughter over there, they rob my daughter over there. We hear the body, so when you run come up by the pint there, with the ball, I see the legal, and have the legal in the, well, the boy have the legal in the lap on the face, and lone blood. He say, he tell me, my daughter, he say, Auntie, he say, please help me. He say, Curtis, he say, shot me ma, me brother and me pa.
Belize has been hit hard by natural disasters this year. Wildfires in the west and south scorched thousands of acres of farmland in the Cayo and Toledo districts. In May, a group of NGOs led by the Association of Protected Areas Management Organizations, APAMO, battled blazes threatening Eligio Ponte National Park and San Antonio Village. Then, 6 months later, Tropical Storm Sara unleashed a deluge that flooded San Ignacio, Crooked Tree, and other communities in the Belize River Valley.
I'm currently standing at the entrance to Crooked Tree Village, waiting for a boat to take us in. We got here and initially we attempted to enter the village by way of a pickup truck. However, the road is impassable at this point in time by way of any sort of vehicles. This is the second day that the roadway has been inundated by floodwaters, and this is the reality that residents have to face now on a daily basis to get to and from the community. Earlier today, a Belize Defense Force truck managed to navigate the flooded water in and out of the village. However, when another truck arrived later with groceries for the residents, it didn't dare attempt the same route. Cheryl Adolphus took a boat from the village at dawn to run her breakfast restaurant in Sand Hill. We caught up with her as she waited for the midday boat to take her back home.
We just punishing, like, say go have to catch the boat half an hour, they don't have a lot of load. You know, so it's very stressful, it's very tiring, it's very uncomfortable. I mean, do a business in Sand Hill, do breakfast in the morning, but I cannot continue across the water every day, 4 o'clock to get up and go and work.
Last week, a brush fire wreaked havoc across the Mountain Pine Ridge Forest Reserve, leading to a multi-agency relief effort. After days of diligent work fighting the flames, the team was able to extinguish and contain the fire. However, nearly 40% of the forest was affected. Orlando Habet, Minister of Sustainable Development, says that majority of the trees in the affected area will make a recovery.
The trees were already starting to seed. They will fall on ground that has a lot of ash now. And so when the rains come, it is expected that there will be a lot of regeneration. Additionally, the Forest Department is preparing through their restoration program to put down seeds to produce seedlings for restoration activities so as to plant pine trees in those areas that do not take naturally from the regeneration. And also the concessionaires for the long-term forest concessions also are involved in producing seedlings through their nurseries, and they will also be assisting in replanting.
The threat of wildfires destroying the Eligio Pante National Park has prompted residents from nearby San Antonio Village, as well as responders from several environmental agencies, to join forces in a concerted effort to prevent the rapidly spreading flames from making their way into the protected area.
The park is so important to us because it's a corridor. It, buffers the Macal River up to Barton Creek. It's a very fragile area. It's, part of our Mayan heritage. That's where our people used to go and do their ceremonies. We go up there and collect our herbs. It's part of us.
Crossing a flooded bridge is no small feat, which is why the Bullet Tree Bridge has been closed to vehicles. However, for some residents living beyond the bridge, crossing on foot is a necessity. They're either braving the risks to get basic supplies or, like these two gentlemen, to get to work. We spoke with one Bullet Tree resident who was watching the scene unfold.
Right now it's not so bad right now, but the last time what we see is not so fast the river is running now, but right now it's the river is getting more higher.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
May this season bring love, laughter, and cherished moments. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a new year filled with hope, joy, and new beginnings. Season's greetings from the management and staff of Atlantic Insurance.
Save, save, save. The credit union way.
Member owners are encouraged to save regularly, borrow wisely, and repay promptly.
No use keeping the money in your pocket. Soon as you turn wrong, you know you ain't got it. So as money goes from hand to hand, give your cash to the umbrella man. I'm telling you. Save, save, save. The credit union way. Save, save, save. It will make you rich someday.
Natural disasters have wreaked havoc on food security, destroying acres of cacao plants and other crops in Toledo district. Cane farmers in the north haven't been spared either, suffering significant losses due to flooding. To make matters worse, the sugar industry is now facing the very real threat of fusarium, and the New World screwworm is also looming. The agriculture sector is on high alert, bracing for these challenges.
The appearance, well, the detection of that screwworm fly in Mexico has put everybody on alert because of damages that it causes. But that ban that the U.S. put on Mexico, that's paid between both countries. In our case, we export to Mexico. Belize is still free of the New World screwworm, so our protocols for exportation remains the same. Until there's a detection in Belize, then the whole protocol will change. They will add in more restrictions. Since Senacica knew of the detection in Guatemala, they have heightened their protocols. They have increased their inspections and sanitation and everything. That it is kind of difficult for export from Guatemala to Mexico. But because Guatemala has reported officially the presence of the screwworm, but Belize has not. Up to now, we are still free. In the region, the Orissa region, El Salvador and Belize are still free. So our protocols for export to Mexico remain the same, unless there's a detection, which we don't have at the moment.
What changes in respect of the protocols should there be a detection in Belize?
Yeah, Senacica has indicated that they might tighten sanitary measures, which will include each animal being inspected and have to be certified free of any wound, any ticks, any fly, any that can attract the fly. And plus they have to spray the animals, bathe the animals with insecticides, and including an ivermectin injection to guarantee that the fly will not travel with the animals. That protocol is not in place for Belize. That protocol have been placed for Guatemala and the animals coming in from that area to Mexico.
It is through something that creates an opening to the plant, can be environmental or can be through pest. Creates an opening and then the fusarium gets in the plant and infect the plant. We have had a long drought season, and I think this is one of the main reasons we have this problem. The soil starts to crack. Whenever it cracks, it destroys the roots underneath, and it creates opening for the plant. Once the plant is weak, the fusarium will infect. Also, we have stem borer and we have sugarcane weevils that bore through the stem of the cane, create openings, and the fusarium also goes in there too. And also you were asking if the fusarium will affect humans if we consume it. No, it will not. What it will do to the cane, it will, if it is severe, it depends on the variety of the cane. We have different varieties. Some of them, yes, it can destroy completely, and some can be tolerant to it. And that is we're working on it and seeing which varieties are more tolerant. But we have seen in the variety that is more than 60% of the sugar industry is B79 474. It is susceptible to this fusarium.
This was how one farmer's cane field looked when we visited Libertad today. All the investments that went into this work will be a loss for him and his family. We could not find them, but we found Esteban Villanueva, the BSCFA's chairman for the Libertad branch.
We have about 150 to 200 acres in flood. Okay. Apart, we have a mature cane that is in flood, and we don't have a good road to come out to take out that cane. That's a loss right now. We don't know if the factory goes ahead and it makes good time after this time that is coming. Maybe we can take it or not. We will lose all of those cane.
The access road to one of the cane fields looked like a river, with floodwaters streaming through. Villanueva told News 5 that the floods also damaged the roads that were repaired.
They try to fix it, but right now with this flooding, the current carries all the dirt. They don't, like if they don't do nothing, when it's flooded, everything goes.
The sudden passing of Dr. Fernando Cuellar in April was a huge blow to the healthcare sector. Known affectionately as Doc, he was an endless well of knowledge and selflessly dedicated to medical practice in Belize. While we mourn the loss of this beloved internist, a few months later, Belize City resident Carol Main's story brought a glimmer of hope. He underwent a life-saving surgery at the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital, showcasing faith, hope, and trust in our healthcare system.
On Saturday, April 20th, the nation lost one of its most revered medical practitioners, Dr. Fernando Cuellar. On April 2nd, his family issued a statement that he had been diagnosed with blood cancer. Only 18 days later, the unexpected occurred. Marlene Cuellar, an immediate family member of Dr. Cuellar, told us that it all came as a shock to the family.
Well, I think we're all still in shock. And I feel for his siblings, I feel for his children, I feel for his medical colleagues, because he was a workaholic. He was always at his hospital. And I think they had a very close relationship because he was so present there as well. I feel for his patients, because I have had people message me and say, you know, he always made me feel like his favorite patient. And now that I see the outpouring of love, I realize he did that for everyone.
The ticking you are hearing is coming from Carl Main's chest. It's coming from a valve placed inside his chest. It's that valve that is keeping him alive today. Main is a survivor. About 10 months ago, the 61-year-old began experiencing pain in his chest and a shortness of breath. He sought medical advice and was told that he would need to undergo heart surgery to fix the issue. Main was scared.
Now for me it was very a bit scary, because I had lost my brother during the same surgery similar to that, but the only difference was that he did his surgery in Los Angeles, California, just 6 months before I was diagnosed. So when I mentioned it to my woman and family members, then, you know, he sent up some red flags. Like, you sure? And where are you? So where are you going to do it? I tell him, well, I'm going to do it at KHMH.
I do my annual checks, which I encourage all women to do them. Last year they were clear. I was due this October. Through self-exam, I realized something was a bit off, and then I was due, and that is when it was confirmed. So I felt it was necessary to make the statement at the end of the session, because one, I always think it's important that you control your own narrative, and two, it's important for those of us, not just women, quite frankly, but the Belizean public. It can happen to anyone, anytime.
As you know, we have officially received and started to operate the new CT scan machine, and we are extremely elated, particularly from the perspective of the patient and the doctors, because we are now able to perform that level of service that we needed to do a long time ago. This is a big win for the patients and the staff, because now the patients don't need to go outside of the hospital to get tested, and also the doctors now have an additional diagnostic tool that is at a very high level that will enable them to make better diagnosis, prescribe better treatment, and we have better results.
On the political front, the People's United Party, PUP, swept the 2024 municipal elections and later secured the Toledo East seat after the sudden passing of former era representative Mike Espat. Meanwhile, the United Democratic Party, UDP, was mired in chaos and in fighting, leading to the rise of the Alliance for Democracy movement and an open challenge to Cheyenne Barrow's leadership. The historic October 20th Unity Convention, the dramatic takeover of the UDP headquarters, and the ongoing legal battle in the High Court are events that many will remember. However, Belizeans continue to call for a strong opposition in the House of Representatives. The opposition, as well as all third parties and independent candidates, was walloped at the polls on Wednesday by the People's United Party. In hindsight, this bold prediction, initially made on nomination day by party leader Shine Barrow, will likely go down in history as egg on his face. What is your confidence on the ground in terms of the municipal slates you have across all 9 cities and towns?
I want the Belizean people to see with all humility. This is my projection. Nine municipalities, and it is not far-fetched. There was a time where the United Democratic Party administered all 9 municipalities, and no municipality is out of reach.
Despite its best efforts, the United Democratic Party was trounced in Belize City, one of the most hotly contested municipalities in the country. By the time the ballots were being counted, halfway through the process, the PUP had already claimed victory over the old capital.
I always have to say thank you to the people of Belize City. And I also have to thank God. Right, he has been the person behind me. I have to thank my family. I have to thank all the people of Belize City. But clearly, some of the indicators essentially are really significant from some of the key polling areas, constituencies of Lake Eye, Pickstock, Freetown, Caribbean Shores. And clearly those numbers that we are seeing and are being forwarded to myself, we are looking pretty good.
An outpouring of condolences and well wishes are being extended to the family of Mike Espat, the 6-time era representative for Toledo East. Espat passed away on Monday night at the Western Regional Hospital. Reports are that he suffered a heart attack. Linsford Castillo, the People's United Party's Secretary General, described Espat's sudden death as a great loss.
It is an understatement to say that it is a tremendous loss to the People's United Party. But the passing of Honorable Mike Espat is not only a loss to the People's United Party, but to the entire country of the East, especially to the people of Toledo East, whom he has served diligently first being elected in 1989. We all know Honorable Espat has served multiple times in the House of Representatives. And of course, he had to sit out an election or two. But for the most part, Honorable Mike has dedicated the greater part of his life to the service to the people of this country. So, no doubt, we as a party are certainly feeling this. And the effects of his loss will affect us for many months and many years to come.
The UDP headquarters building on Youth for the Future Drive was the venue of a ruckus this morning when the Albert area representative Tracy Tager Panton, along with standard bearers of the UDP and about 50 party supporters, showed up and demanded access to the building. It came a week and a day after Panton led a convention at the Belize City Center, at which UDP delegates voted her as the new UDP leader. Today, she said she was armed with legal right to claim the office.
We also sought trustee for this building to have occupation of the building and to use this building for the work of the United Democratic Party.
Okay, and this morning?
Philippa Bailey, former Secretary General for the United Democratic Party.
And this morning, what transpired?
We came over and we took occupation of the building.
How, forcefully?
No, it didn't. It was not forcefully. The door was open for us. A server from the magistrate court was here to serve the relevant documents, and then the door was open and we walked in.
In the courts, Shine Barrow sued Tracy Panton amidst the ongoing power struggle for leadership of the UDP. Barrow scored a major win when the High Court ruled in his favor, allowing him to regain control of the UDP Secretariat and various party organs. However, the main issue of UDP leadership is still pending. Meanwhile, the Briceño administration and the Feinstein Group are embroiled in a legal battle over the compulsory acquisition of about 24 acres of land on Stake Bank. The tourism development project came to a sudden halt and went into receivership earlier this year, before the government stepped in and acquired the properties.
Tracy Taylor Panton and the Alliance for Democracy made a bold move by storming the UDP headquarters, seizing control of the party's iconic building on Youth for the Future Drive, along with Wave Radio and the Guardian newspaper. This dramatic takeover happened just days after Panton and her movement held a national convention to appoint a new UDP leader. Tonight, a High Court order has swung the pendulum back, granting Leader of the Opposition Moses Shine Barrow and his executive team the authority to reclaim the headquarters and resume their operations.
It was a hearing of an inter-parties injunction. Our clients, the applicants, filed an injunction in the court last week to remove the respondents from the premises at the UDP headquarters and for themselves to re-enter the premises. So the court heard that application this morning. The court considered the evidence before it and the submissions on both sides. The practical effect is that the court order takes effect immediately. Therefore, the applicants, Mr. Barrow and his colleagues, can attend to the UDP headquarters and repossess the property as of 10 a.m. today.
That is the thing, why Honorable Panton had wanted an extension of time. Her representation is outside the jurisdiction, and there are certain things that must be done in order to establish being able to be heard in this jurisdiction by those attorneys, and that has not been done. And so what happened today really is Honorable Panton, from her own mouth, was able to, and I must say most stellarly, indicate to the court and invite the court to appreciate that this is not a matter of trespass, this is a matter of the convention.
This holiday, remember to budget for your gifts. Shop online to save on gas and save by looking for sales on presents and Christmas decor. Don't overdo. Let's go into this new year financially fit.
Save, save, save. The credit union way.
Member owners are encouraged to save regularly, borrow wisely, and repay promptly.
No use keeping the money in your pocket. Soon as you turn wrong, you know you ain't got it. So as money goes from hand to hand, give your cash to the umbrella man. I telling you, save, save, save. The credit union way. Save, save, save. It will make you rich someday.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Que esta temporada traiga amor, risas y momentos preciados. Te deseamos una feliz Navidad y un año nuevo lleno de esperanzas, alegrías y nuevos comienzos. Felices fiestas de parte de la gerencia y el personal de Atlantic Insurance.
The Israel-Gaza war continues to rage, with accusations of genocide over water access. Israel denies blocking access to this vital resource, but earlier this year, Ambassador Assad Shoman addressed the International Court of Justice, condemning the violence that has claimed thousands of Palestinian lives in the Gaza Strip. Closer to home, Haiti remains in chaos. A Kenya-led mission is on the ground, working to restore peace and order. In October, Belize reaffirmed its commitment to supporting Haiti during the United Nations General Assembly.
Conflicts should not be allowed to fester. The war in Ukraine is now 2 years running, and we are concerned that the end is still not near. Haiti has seized our attention once again. For Belize, the international response must be enduring for long-lasting peace and security of our sister country. We are working through the Caribbean community to reinforce and strengthen Haiti, and we commend the Haitian people in their resolve to define their own pathway forward. We are pleased to be contributing personnel to the multinational security support mission. Belize is extremely worried that up to now, the international community has not fully delivered on its commitments for the MSS, nor the UN humanitarian needs and response plan for Haiti. This jeopardizes all the efforts towards establishing political stability, but more than that, puts the future of Haiti at substantial risk.
President, members of the court, the Palestinian people have an inalienable right to self-determination and complete independence, which has always been systematically denied to them. The League of Nations mandate territories had a right to independence, which was realized for all of them except for Palestine. The UN Charter enshrined the right to self-determination for the protection of all peoples, except in practice for the Palestinians, more than half of whom were massacred or driven off their land in the 1948 Nakba. Their land was partitioned, and half of it allocated to a new state that promptly extended it to 78% by brute force. In 1967, just 7 years after Resolution 1514, Israel commenced its still continuing occupation of the entirety of the remaining Palestinian territory. Since then, Israel has, through systematic manipulation of negotiations to undermine the presumed objectives, ensured that the Palestinian people are prevented from ever exercising that right. Israel cannot be permitted to continue flouting one of the most fundamental principles of international law with impunity. Impunity breeds inhumanity. The right of the Palestinian people to self-determination is violated in many ways. I will focus on three. First, the exclusion of Palestinians from any part of the Palestinian territory denies their right to territorial integrity, which is an essential part of the right to self-determination.
7 deserving Belizeans, including the husband and wife team of Matthew and Virgin Martinez, received the Creative and Cultural Excellence Award. This couple, along with other recipients, has been leading the charge in preserving our culture. A few months later, we highlighted their ongoing efforts to protect the Garifuna heritage. In entertainment news, Cheyenne Barrow enjoyed the spotlight with his biodocumentary, which premiered to rave reviews both locally and internationally. 2024 will be remembered for its outstanding entertainment and cultural progress. Belizean moviegoers were in for a treat on Sunday evening as the much-anticipated film documenting the life and times of Cheyenne Barrow premiered at the Princess Cinema. The audience was captivated by the story of this public figure, brought to life on the big screen. Before the first showing, we chatted with some of the attendees to get a sense of their excitement and expectations for the documentary. It was great to hear what they were looking forward to as they headed into the screening.
I think it's a historical moment for Shine, and I'm really curious to understand the full story, from beginning to end. I love documentaries, and I think a Belizean documentary, first and foremost, is something nice. And secondly, a Belizean documentary and a politician is even better. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the storyline, understanding more of what Shine and his journey is all about. Yeah, and just, feeling out the vibe.
Shine's journey from rags to riches, which includes a significant stint in a U.S. prison, is a well-known story. His shift from the world of music and entertainment to the political arena in Belize is also widely recognized. While he may have his critics, his story is not just a cautionary tale, but one that many can relate to. We had the chance to catch up with Shine himself on the red carpet. Here's what he had to say at the event. What do you think, amidst this cautionary tale, is perhaps the lesson for the average young Belizean who is watching this documentary for the first time?
Never give up. It is never too late, and you can do absolutely anything, but the cost of admission, the cost of success is one of great pain and sacrifice and consistency and determination. And if you're prepared to give every single thing that you have, every ounce, every fiber of your being to what it is you're trying to accomplish in life, you will succeed. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And sometimes it seems as if it won't happen any at all. But I believe my life story is proof that it does happen. It may not happen when you want it to happen, but it will happen if you remain consistent and committed.
Do not be surprised when future history books mention the name Adela Peterson Vallejos. While you may not recognize the name now, she is well on her way to becoming someone you can't forget. She is one of 7 recipients of the National Celebrations Commission's Creative and Cultural Excellence Awards. She received the Leela Vernon Prize for Creative Community Action and Safeguarding Cultural Heritage. It is said that culture is the spirit of a nation, and these winners are keeping the spirit alive.
It's a big step forward. I represent the Yucatec Maya culture, and the Yucatec Maya culture has been marginalized. Their language is near extinction. So for everyone to recognize our efforts mean the world to us. Maybe now people will take attention and see that we need to do much more to preserve our ancestral language.
As a couple, Matthew and Virgin Martinez have devoted their lives to keeping tradition alive and preserving the rich heritage of the Garifuna people. Together, they are the embodiment of Garifuna Duo, a cultural experience that celebrates the language, music, dance, cuisine, attire, spirituality, and lifestyle of the Garifuna people.
It is a very powerful movement that now we are experiencing at this particular point in time. It is a renaissance because now a lot of people are now gravitating towards their cultural identity. We need to have more of that so we can strengthen, in order for us to strengthen the true Belizean identity.
With so many people reconnecting with their cultural heritage these days, the Martinezes are at the heart of this movement. This dynamic husband and wife team and a group of passionate advocates are inspiring the next generation of Garifuna boys and girls. Among them is Angela Palacio.
My parents were very proud Garinago, and they spoke Garifuna to us. So even though back then it wasn't popular to be Garifuna, they would try to ridicule you, but my parents, they said you have to be proud, and they spoke Garifuna to us. Our friends would come and they would talk to us in Garifuna, and so our friends knew we were Garifuna. we didn't have to hide that. Mua, Webeneri Lue,
2024 was also chock full of memorable achievements we'll fondly dub the good times. Here at Great Belize Productions, we hosted the 35th Annual Caribbean Media Awards, where Channel 5 once again performed well. We took home 10 awards in various categories, highlighting excellence in journalism and television production.
For Best Health Education Journalism goes to Bridging the Gaps of Mental Illness Treatment, reporter Paul Lopez, videographer Chris Mangar, Great Belize Productions Limited, Belize.
Great Belize Productions.
It was a momentous occasion in Placencia on Tuesday night, as the name Great Belize Television was repeatedly announced. It was the Caribbean Media Awards ceremony for excellence in journalism. The reporters and videographers who submitted excellent news stories in 2023 to the CBU were announced. Adding to the team's success were winning categories in sound engineering, best producer, and digital content. Reporter Paul Lopez walked away with 3 of those awards, including one in health education journalism with a story titled Bridging the Gaps of Mental Illness Treatment with videographer Chris Mangar.
When I heard my name called for the first time, I was definitely surprised. I think the first one was Best News Item, and I could recall now walking up on stage and getting a bit emotional, because when you're there, it's completely different than when you watch it on a live stream like we have been doing for years. To be there and to actually receive this award on stage and having all those reflections and flashbacks of my journey, career journey, as well as my personal journey, I don't think there's anything like it, no other feeling, at least up to this point in my life, no greater feeling.
At the start of 2023, Catalina would have described herself as a relatively healthy woman who took care of her body and health. She enjoyed the love of her family and engaged in her passion of baking. However, everything changed when an annual checkup and a mammogram marked the beginning of her fight for life.
When I went there to do the first mammogram, the first breast, all right, the second one, they look at me and tell me, it looked like cancer.
Her fight to survive immediately began. Catalina was presented with the option to undergo a mastectomy, the surgical removal of her breast, or the immediate start of cancer treatment through radiation. Today, she is one breast less.
It's not an easy decision to make, You really have to think good. Okay, like it's like a life or death, I said, okay, I need to do it. If I want to live more, I need to do it.
Catalina endured a year of hardships, battling through chemotherapy with the support and good graces of individuals and the Cancer Society, who aided her medical journey through fundraising. In April of this year, her perseverance was rewarded when she finally heard the words she had been waiting for all of 2023.
It's one of the most amazing news. It's enjoyable to know that you are free out of this monster that was killing me.
Gift of Life Belize has provided cardiac diagnosis and support to children from birth to 18 for over 4 decades. Since 1977, Gift of Life Belize has done surgeries for more than 500 minors. This year alone, The project has provided over $4 million worth of care to the pediatric population affected by congenital heart defects. This year, Bianca Domingo was one of those parents who got aid for her 2 babies, Josiah in Belize and Leah in Texas.
2 of Josiah hole closed a couple months after, but the PDA was still open. Her PDA was still open as well. A few months after, I believe a few months after that, a doctor came in from the United States and they did a procedure at the Carl Huschner in the cath lab on both of them.
As we wrap up our 2024 end-of-year review, we reflect on a year filled with remarkable achievements, challenges, and moments that brought us together. From groundbreaking cultural advancements to inspiring stories of resilience and innovation, 2024 has been a year to remember. We celebrated the dedication of individuals and communities who worked tirelessly to preserve our heritage and push the boundaries of creativity. We witnessed the power of unity and the impact of collective efforts in shaping a brighter future for all. As we look ahead to 2025, we carry forward the lessons learned and the hope for even greater accomplishments. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the highlights of 2024. From all of us here at News 5, we wish you a joyful holiday season and a prosperous new year. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in 2025.
News 5's 2024 highlights was brought to you by Holy Redeemer Credit Union, Fulltech Systems Limited, Sagicor, and Atlantic Insurance Company Limited.